Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to begin the funeral services of Abbie C Weisberg. Rabbi Ari Hart will be officiating. For those of you who are here, we ask everyone to take a moment to be sure that your cell phones have been turned off. We welcome everyone who's live streaming this afternoon in memory of Abbie.
We're gathered here today to do something very difficult. To begin our physical goodbyes to our beloved Abbie Weisberg, Chaya Searle Bat Yafa Mendel, beloved daughter of Mel and Shirley, sister of Michael, Laura, and Debbie, wife of Mitchell, loving mother of Zoe, Shayna, and Sophia, and proud grandmother of Archie. Our Jewish tradition teaches us that every person has a soul, a neshama. But there are some of us who have what's called a neshama klalit, a bigger soul, a collective soul, a soul whose spiritual impact reaches other souls, impacts families, communities, and the world. Abbie had a neshama klalit, that broad soul. She was a soul who touched so many other souls. If we weren't in a pandemic, we would surely need a stadium to make it possible for everyone who would want to be here today to be here today. I'm sure there are hundreds with us on the live stream. And today and in the coming days and weeks and months, we'll try to capture and tell the stories, the teachings, the impact that Abbie had in our lives. We won't be able to capture it all. There's just too much. But the impact that she made in our hearts, in the hearts of all those who are watching, the impact she made in the whole world, we will try. We'll try to capture it. We'll try to tell it. And of course, we will remember it. And that's what we'll begin to do today. We'll start with some Tehillim, some words from the Psalms, followed by words of memory from the Weisberg family. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai rori lo echsar, bino desha yarbitzeni al me menuchot yinahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev yancheni b'maglei tzedek leman shemo. Gam ki elech b'geitz ha'mavet lo yirara ki ata imadi. Shivtecha mishantecha hema yenachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorarai dishanta b'shem roshi kosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yurdefuni kol yemei chayai. V'shavti b'veit Adonai la'orech yamim. A song of David, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God causes me to lie down in lush pastures. God leads me beside tranquil waters. God restores my soul and guides me in righteous paths for God's name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your scepter and staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in full view of my adversaries. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. And invite forward Mitch and the daughters to come up.
Us standing at a podium right now, speaking about our mom, feels like the biggest, most sparkly shoes to fill. Our mom was the most beautiful, caring, and inspirational woman there ever was, and life will have a void now that she is gone. There are no words that will capture the woman our mother was, and I'm speaking for all of us when I say that I am so scared of what life will be like without her. Who will I I call when I'm panicked over something that isn't really stressful, but hearing from her that there's nothing to ever stress about is the only thing that calms me down. Despite her love of shopping and shoes, she really only placed value on the things that mattered in life, giving back to everyone else around her. My mom was so proud of us. She would embellish stories about us, like when I told her I did well on a math exam in college and immediately got texts from every aunt and uncle congratulating me for being top percentile of everyone at the University of Maryland. Or when she told everyone that Josh's spring break trip was really him being selected to go to South Africa to solve a water crisis. She would often say that I kept my accomplishments from her and didn't tell her enough of my achievements. But Mom, the only person I got that from was you. I never realized how incredible, inspirational, and impactful of a woman she was until I was old enough to recognize what it must have taken to be a mother of 3 girls, work full-time, get a master's, and build an extremely successful career, all while maintaining deep and meaningful relationships with anyone who knew her. Our mom loved many things in life. She loved shopping, traveling, laying in the sun, horseback riding, dancing, and singing. But the one thing she loved the most was being a mom. She adored dressing us all up in matching clothes and showing off her little girls. And as an adult, there's no badge of honor I love more than being introduced as Abbie's daughter. Well, she was a mom to us. That would understate the maternal role she played in hundreds, if not thousands, of other people's lives. She would walk into a classroom full of students, some of them in the middle of a complete breakdown, and they would immediately put a smile on their faces to see our mom walk in the room. She is so special. Our mom knew how to make a house a home, so much so that after I technically moved out, I always wanted to come back and just sit on the couch next to her and watch reality TV shows, though none were more important than The Bachelor. Our mom taught us how to be a sister. She was so loved by our Auntie Debbie and Auntie Lori and Uncle Hup as her baby sister. She always reminded us that we needed to take care of each other, just like they took care of her. When they looked at their baby sister, they were so proud of all she accomplished in her life. Whether she was a cheerleader at New Trier, on stage acting, they always looked to their little sister with complete admiration. And of course, our mom taught us how to be a friend. Being the only girl in her crew of men growing up is likely what propelled her to feel confident all those times she was the only woman in a boardroom. Ben, David, Gary, and many others all provided her with so much love, laughter, and knowledge. She had her girl crew too, of course, with a list too long to name one by one, but filled with friendships so deep that you each know it better than any onlooker can describe. And Teresa, or Mother Teresa, you were there through the very end and stayed so strong for all of us. And while many people can call my mom her best friend, there's nothing as special as her Auntie Fran. Whether it was the early morning phone calls while they were still in their PJs, the TJ Maxx runs, or the fact that they still had more to talk about when they spoke on the phone at night again. There was nothing quite like the bond they had, and I am speaking for all of your children when I say I am so grateful to have witnessed such an extraordinary friendship. Dad, there's no one who was a better audience for your jokes than Mom. I'll never forget the way she looked at you and threw her head back laughing at you. Even when you were driving her crazy, I could feel the genuine love that was your relationship. And where would she be without you as her incredible caretaker these past years? No one has shown her more love, dedication, and admiration than you have. My heart breaks that you don't have her to wake up to every morning and fight about who had a better night's sleep. But I hope that you find peace in knowing the incredible quality of care and dignity you have given to her over these past years. Our mom had resolve. Aside from her achievements throughout her career, be it building a house for individuals with disabilities despite being told no, Her true resolve was most visible in these final 2 weeks of her life. Getting herself to be there at my wedding was no easy feat. And just like everything, she made it seem so effortless to anyone on the outside. And of course, we know she willed Archie to come meet her babby 4 weeks early. She made sure she got the chance to hold Archie in her arms and was in awe when she got home, in disbelief that little Archie was hers. What a babby she would have been. As she approached these final moments with Grace, we all had the similar thoughts that our future children will not get to know their babby, but we know her legend will live far beyond her. And not many people can really say that with the confidence that we can, but our mom touched so many people's lives with a smile that lit up a room. There are so many stories I would share up here if I had all day. And you told me, Mom, specifically that you wanted this moment to be a party, so I promise we are getting to that. Mommy, we will forever miss you. Your presence has left us, but you will forever be remembered, and I can promise you that we will be sharing stories about you for the rest of our lives. You are and always will be a legend. I love you, Mommy. Yeah, we're gonna stay.
Stick around, girls.
Do you like? You missing page?
Of course.
No.
Don't worry about it.
You want your phone, Dad?
No,
You forgot.
it's okay. We were fixed up by my sister Andrea, and we went out on our first date during Hanukkah of 1986. You'll recall the most popular Hanukkah song that year was the Super Bowl Shuffle. Less than halfway through our first date, I asked Abbie for our second date, which was going to be 36 hours later. I wanted Abbie to accompany me for a lunch I had already planned with my childhood babysitter, Jerry Ann Willinkin, of blessed memory. We were going to Cappy's, Jerry Ann's favorite place, for lunch. Jerry Ann, who was 19 years older than me, suffered a forceps-related traumatic brain injury at birth, transforming a gifted person to a special needs gifted person. Needless to say, I did not get a word in edgewise during lunch. Jerry Ann and Abbie were instantly engaged, and in the same instant, I fell in love and knew that, as I would have predicted, my sisters found my beshert. I'm sorry, but this feels good. We were engaged by Pesach, and I actually bought her a ring by Shavuos. And we were married on my 27th birthday on November 15th, 1987. In our speeches at our wedding, I described Abbie as the greatest achievement of my life, and Abbie described me as her knight in shining armor, but somehow was translated to Jewish doctor in a white coat. Only one of us was prophetic that night. Clearly, marrying Abbie was and remains to this day the achievement of my lifetime. But as it turns out, Abbie was the knight in shining armor as well. When Abbie and I got the call in 2014 about the large mass seen on her pelvic ultrasound, no surprise, I was the first one to weep. Not Abbie. Abbie immediately said, "How are we going to get that expletive out of me?" As I'm weeping and Abbie's planning her cure, I swear God put this comforting thought into my head. and that is that Abbie, and this wasn't that we had a life insurance policy for Abbie, I assure you. We're both too superstitious to ever discuss things like that. But I realized in that moment what a large account Abbie had opened at the Eternity Trust Savings and Loan, where she was a millionaire. Because in that moment, I realized how Abbie's deeds, her actions, her bravery, all her life was her part of eternity. That how much that rippled in the world and in our reality, and is to this day, and will always be. That is Abbie. Abbie's life was truly one of tikkun olam, repairing the universe, doing her part in God's creation, which was not simply a moment in history. Creation is an eternal process in which what we do matters. We all matter. And boy, did Abbie matter. And when it's said that our mitzvot will be rewarded in olam haba, the world to come, that is not some world that we need to imagine in our minds. That is the world we all currently inhabit, and the world our grandchildren will inhabit. And all we have to do to know that Abbie is in this world and will be in this world forever is look into each other's eyes. Abbie, I love you eternally, and I thank you for the gifts that you left me and our beautiful family. Thank you.
I'm overcome with emotion. The book of Mishlei, book of Proverbs, asks a famous question. Eshet chayil mi yimtza. A woman of valor, a woman of strength, who can find? A woman like Abbie Weisberg, who can find? And I've been thinking about Eshet Chayil and the words of that poem, which are so fitting to what Abbie was all about. It begins with Chayil, with strength. Abbie was incredibly strong. She was strong in the boardroom, strong on the dance floor, strong as a mother, strong as a wife, strong as a friend, strong as a grandmother. But in thinking about her strength, it was a strength that radiated out. It was a strength of the heart, not a strength that dominated others, not a strength that made you feel weak, but rather a strength that made me and others feel stronger too. Mi yimtza. Who can find it? Who can find someone like Abbie? What was the source of her unique strength? Last night I watched the video you shared from the Jewish Women International Honor Society, where she was honored as 10 women to watch in Washington, D.C. And she spoke about passion. Her strength was from her passion. Passion for family, for work, passion for joy, for love, passion for life. Eshet Chayil continues, Batach lev ba'ala v'shala lo yichsar. Her husband puts confidence in her, trusts her. As you shared, you knew right away. You knew right away. You trusted right away. This was it. And even if you didn't know, your siblings knew, telling you that if you break up with her, they're going to stick with Abbie and leave you behind. And that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship that saw each of you grow and blossom. And you there were Mitch, you were there with her every single step of the way. Zemama sadeh v'tirachehu. When she sets her mind to something, she accomplishes it. Mitch, you were there in 1990 when she attended that first Keshet dinner. You brought her. I think she was your date. And after that opening video, she just knew she had to be involved. And she walked away from that dinner as a volunteer at the Sunday school, and then became a paid teacher, and then launched a recreational program, and then led the program, then got a master's at Spertus, and then became the CEO of Keshet, changing the face of the Jewish community in Chicago, changing the face of Illinois, changing the face of the world. Zoe, Shana, and Sophia, you marveled at the quality of her being able to set her mind to something and accomplish it, and how she always made it look so easy, juggling motherhood and a career and a social life and cancer, and always looking so easy, always with time to do it all. As we were speaking this morning, I shared that sometimes children of successful, high-profile, high-achieving parents can feel like they missed out on their parents, a resentment or a feeling of loss, but you shared the opposite. You shared that she was so present in your lives, even with everything that was going on, always a loving, guiding, strong presence there for you when you needed her. Eshet Chayil continues, Sheish ve'argaman lavusha, oz ve'hadar lavusha. It talks about her dress. Impeccable style. Sheish ve'argaman, the most beautiful clothes. And of course, Abbie knew from style. But then it says, Oz ve'hadar lavusha. She was wrapped, she was dressed in strength and radiance, not just a physical beauty, but a spiritual beauty, spiritual presence. Even in her final days, I saw her that Friday, I was struck. Even though she was at the end of her life, there was a beautiful radiance about her. It was very remarkable. Kappa parsa la'ani, her hands are spread, open to all those who need. She was a consummate helper, of course professionally, bringing those left on the margins of communal life into the heart of communal life, literally touching thousands and thousands of lives. Keshet participants, their families, their communities, the people who benefited from legislation she helped advance. And not just in a professional role, she helped friends get jobs. She gave words of support to those who needed, baby gifts to every baby she ever even seemed to hear of. Always the open hand, always giving. V'tischak leyom acharon, forward-looking. Abbie was always putting things in place, always looking forward, even at the end of her life. And something which you wanted to be mentioned, which is so critical, she was forward-thinking in Jewish education and Jewish values, making Shabbat a presence in the home, putting up mezuzahs in the home, sending children to Jewish day school to instill the values in you and the identity that meant so much to her. Piha patcha b'chachma v'torat chesed al lashona. Her mouth opens in wisdom. Abbie wasn't just a doer, she was also a knower, someone who possessed tremendous wisdom and insight into many areas of life. And she shared her wisdom with staff, with family, with the many mentees that she helped train. And she consulted for Israel, for the UK. She spread what she knew, what she had learned, what she had built all across the world, and shared her wisdom all across the world. And her wisdom was, I think, fundamentally about one thing. It was a wisdom about inclusion. Inclusion of all people into community, of all different abilities and backgrounds. And inclusion for Abbie didn't mean just being there. Inclusion meant being seen, being valued, being made to feel special. Abbie's deep wisdom was how to make you feel special, how to make you feel valued, like you mattered. She knew how to do that, and that was such a gift to everyone who encountered it. Eshet Chayil ends, Tnu la mipri yadeya v'yalua b'shari maseha. It's a strange phrase. Give her from the work of her hands. Give her from the work of her hands, and her deeds will be praised at the gate. What does it mean to give her from the work of her hands? It means to give back to her. all of her good deeds, all of her mitzvot, everything she accomplished in this world, everything Mitch spoke about so beautifully, the lessons she taught, the love she shared, all that handiwork of hers, we give it back to her. We give it back by living her values of inclusion and connection and friendship and family and love. We give back to her by living her wisdom in our lives. We give back by living lives of good deeds, of action, of doing, inspired by Abbie. And by living in these ways, we achieve Vaya'aluha. She will be praised. She will be praised in the gates. She will be praised across the community. She will be praised across the world. And she will forever be praised in our hearts. May her memory always be for us a blessing. I want to invite everyone to rise now as we recite the Kel Maleh prayer. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Al Kanfei Ashchina, B'malot Kedoshim Uteorim, Kezovar Harakia Mazirim, Et Nishmahat Chaya Sarah Bat Yafa V'Mendel, Shachal Le'olama. Bavor Shanachnu Mitpalim Bar Haskara Nishmata, Began Eden Tehei Menuchata, Lachein Ba'al Rachamim Yastirer Asektor Knafav Le'olamim, Vitzor B'Torah Chaim Nishmata, Adonai Unachalata, V'tanoach B'Shalom Amishkava, V'nomar Amen. O God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant proper repose on the sheltering wings of your presence, in the lofty levels of the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the sky. Unto the soul of Abbie Weisberg, Chaya Sarah Bat Yafa Mendel, who has gone to her world and for whose memory we pray. May her rest be in paradise, and may the Master of compassion bring her under the cover of God's wings and bind her soul in the bond of life. May the Lord be her heritage, and may she rest on her resting place in peace. And let us respond. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the interment service will continue at Memorial Park Cemetery located at 9900 Grosse Pointe Road here in Skokie. For those of you who will be driving in the funeral procession, the procession will be forming in the parking lot. Please obtain an orange safety funeral sticker to place on the right-hand side of your windshield. Have your bright lights and hazard lights on at all times. For additional measures of safety, we will be providing a car in the back of the procession to hopefully keep other cars from entering the procession. And for your own personal safety, please use your horn liberally as you're going through the intersections. And please do not speak or text on your cellular phone while driving to the cemetery. The Shiva will be at the Weisberg residence at 12 Williamsburg Court in Evanston, following the interment till 9 p.m., Wednesday and Thursday from 2 to 4 and 7 to 9 p.m. Please do not send food to the residents. The family will be doing the Shiva outside as long as the weather is permitting. For those of you who are online, all that information is on our website, as well as you could find the information about memorial contributions to the MRW Leadership Board. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I invite everyone to rise and stand in place as we escort Abbie's family from the chapel, and you may return to your car.